Hello, everybody. I have a great pleasure to announce another episode of Gradski podcast. Today, we really have a special guest, UFC legend, but apart from that, world-class man and world-class martial artist, Stefan Struve. Welcome, Stefan.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's a real pleasure to have you here. Me and Bojan are very happy that we're going to have a chance to speak with you today.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, Stefan, can you please tell me, how do you feel in Serbia? This is not your first time that you're here, so how are the feelings?
First time I was here in 2017, I had a great time. After that, a lot of things happened in the world, of course. So it's good to be back, and I like Serbia, man. The energy is good. The people are friendly. The fights are always good over here. So I'm really enjoying myself.
That's nice to hear. I mean, it's a funny story how we met you through your friend Ricardo, who also had a chance to be in Serbia and know you. So he also loves our country, and his wife is from this region. So
no, it's good, man. And I understand why he loves it here, because the energy is just good. You know, people are very relaxed, very friendly, in my opinion, and I love the food too. So it's good.
So everything is good.
Yep, everything is good.
Also, so we brought you for the project that we are doing at the moment. So we are doing a MMA reality fight camp at Astra Per Aspera. So you are a big part of it, and you're gonna help us promote the sport as much as possible. So can you please let me know, how do you like it so far, and what do you think about the fights, organization, and everything?
Yeah, it was good. I didn't see a lot until yesterday, of course, from the show. So it was a little bit of a mystery for me. But it was good. Some really good fights yesterday. The fighters were really happy to be part of the show. They had a really good experience yesterday. Half of the fighters already got the fight, and the quality of the fights yesterday was really good. Tonight we have the other half, and it's good to see that all over Europe MMA is growing, and SBC is doing really good. We got a big fight coming up September 9th with a really good lineup. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. It's the level has gone up already so much since the first time I was here in 2017. And if you look at some of the fighters coming from the region here who are fighting now, how good they are already, that's very good to see.
Yeah. And how do you think, how important it is for the fighters, like newcomers or young fighters that are trying to prove themselves on international scene, to have someone like you support from someone like you?
Yeah, for me, you guys know me a little bit. I don't think I'm a special person. You know what I mean? I just did what I did, and I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I was really passionate. I'm still passionate about MMA. I was really passionate about my career. I gave it my all. Unfortunately, I had to retire a little sooner than I would have wanted because of health issues. But especially the TV show is going to be good for young people to see and understand what this sport is about, and not only see the level of the fighters, but also the people behind the fighter. A lot of people think that fighters are crazy, and of course, you have to be a little crazy to do this, but all the people I met yesterday were all great guys, so it's good for them to see, and it might get them started in MMA. So
yeah, I think it is very important. Like what I want to say, like a fighter like you had 40 some fights. You really fought who is who from the MMA world, which is the case with your coach also, with Bob Schreiber as well. So you and him really fought every known name in MMA sport that we heard of. So
we never say no to a fight. I was talking to Bojan earlier, and only we were talking about the issues I had with my health, and that I probably should have canceled a couple fights that I lost because of things that happened, but I didn't know about my heart issue before that and stuff like that. There's only one fight that I really canceled because of an injury. I was going to rematch Junior Dos Santos, and then I needed shoulder surgery. So, but for the rest, if they had approached you with a fight, what do? You say yes. You prepare and you fight. Simple as that. So
yeah, but we can mention the specific fight. Which one you think that you would have won if the situation was normal, when you first felt the troubles, the health issues?
Well, I was on a really good win streak. I just knocked out Miočić, of course. Then I was going to fight Mark Hunt. But at that point, we didn't know about the situation with my heart. And during the fight, I just got really fatigued, up to the point where I could barely stand on my feet. I could barely keep my hands up. And he was able to land a big left hook. He broke my jaw, and I was able to continue. But then it was a really bad break. A piece of bone was sticking in my mouth and stuff like that. It was a gruesome injury. But it's easy because now you can say it looking back. But I should have canceled that fight. But you never know. If they would have found my heart issue then, because, part of me losing that fight and going to the hospital for a couple researches and stuff, that's where they found what was wrong with me. So, yeah.
What is your favorite show? UFC is first, of course, mine too. The second favorite show probably is our show.
Yeah, for sure, man. I also
because
do
you work for both.
Yeah, no, but like I look at the level. I also do commentary in the Netherlands for Cage Warriors. Yeah. Cage Warriors does a really good job, especially with the talent from the UK then. But you guys have the same thing with talent from here.
Yeah.
And then you guys get people who've already proven themselves in the UFC and other big organizations, or people who are from other countries who can go to the UFC, and you match them up with local talent. And the level from a couple fights yesterday was really, really good. And then tonight we have a couple more of those fights. And then especially September 9th, there's a couple fighters from the region who are fighting against guys that I know from the UFC and from Bellator, which is really, really interesting. And I already told you guys do a great job with the promotion. I see such a progress if I look back 5 years ago. So no, you definitely do a really good job. I'm really happy to be working with you guys doing this. So
thank you, Stefan. It's our pleasure.
We are very proud to have you here.
Nicola mentioned a few minutes ago that you have a lot of fights especially UFC, tough fights with tough opponents, but there is not too much marks on your face, on your body.
I use a lot of lotions.
You have good cosmetic in Holland.
You need to know where they are. This one is from Stojnic, and I almost lost my lip when I fought Christian Moorcraft.
Yeah,
that was probably the toughest first round I ever fought. He almost killed me, man, in the first round. He was a big American guy. He was undefeated when I fought him. That was in 2011. And he took me down, and he weighed in fight night. He was like 295 pounds.
Yeah.
So over 130 kilos. And I was like 110 and I was 22. So, man, that guy was strong. And he just kept going. He had no fear in him. And after the first round, I got up and I went to my corner. I told him, man, I feel like I'm going to pass out. I don't feel good. And my coach told me, shut up. You go back.
You'll be good.
You give it your all. You'll be good. Just do this and that. And he told me a couple times. I went back, and 20 seconds later, I knocked him out. Really brutal knockout. One of the best knockouts from my career. So, but yeah, that was my lip. And then I fought Tibura. It wasn't a really good fight, but that's over here. And my eyebrows were cut open. And yeah, I got a couple scars. And then, of course, I got the plate in my jaw. So it's, and now I got plenty.
As we spoke a few hours ago about how many bonuses you have. I thought that you have 8 bonuses in UFC. You think
you could be right. We need to look at Wikipedia, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Maybe even more, right?
8 or 9, something like that.
Unbelievable. Close. Performance of the night, 3 submission of the night.
I think 2 fight of the nights. My fight against Stipe was fight of the night. My fight against Volkov was fight of the night. And then I have a couple knockout of the night bonuses, a couple submission of the night bonuses. And yeah, that's, later on in my career, it got hard because of the health issues I had. It was hard to give my all and fight with the intensity I always used to fight with. That's why a lot of people always love to see me fight, because I always came to fight, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't hesitate, and I hesitated too much later on in my career for obvious reasons. Now I can look back; it's easy to say now, but I came to. I didn't come to win a decision. Yeah, I wanted to finish the fight.
So we could say that Stefan is for sure one of the most exciting heavyweights ever to watch. And really, you fought all the names, as I already said. But would you mind us to remind people and everybody watching the show about some of the fights? I mean, fight with Denis Stojnic was maybe the bloodiest UFC fight in Europe. I think it was held in Germany.
Yeah.
How do you remember?
Well, it was my first win, and it was in 2009, I believe, 2009 or 2010. And before the UFC, I already had like 20 pro fights or something like that, and I beat some really good fighters. And then I got signed to the UFC, and my debut was against Junior Dos Santos. Nobody really knew him at that point, and I was too impressed with the UFC, and I started really slow, and he took advantage of that. So that was a quick loss. But then at that point, if you would lose 2 fights in a row in the UFC, you would be out of the UFC. So that was the second fight a couple months later against Denis Stojnic. And the first round, I almost submitted him a couple times. But we were on the ground and he hit me with a huge elbow and my head split open and blood was like leaking from my skull. And I was able to survive though, and they were able to put Vaseline on it and stuff. Second round, as soon as we started again, of course, it opened back up. But I was able to get the fight to the ground and reverse the fight because I ended up on bottom. Reverse him, got on top, and I immediately got his back. And the referee was Dan Murgliata, and I know Dan pretty well. I've spoken to him numerous times after that. He told me if I wouldn't have had such a good position and try to get the rear naked choke all the time, he probably would have stopped the sport, the fight, because the sport was at the beginning in Germany, and there were people there at the event from child services and stuff to check the sport, and like they before the fight. Before the fight, they told everybody we cannot use a lot of blood. Like if it's like if it's gonna be a mess, we cannot have that in Germany. So then I was 21, I looked like a baby, you know what I mean? So then that happened. The whole cage was blood, and it's funny because you see a lot of people. I know the people they were talking about, like from the organizations, they were sitting front row, and
they go back.
Second fight. And when my fight happened, they were all gone. They went home. And then you see UFC stuff and they're just like sitting like that. It was, but the arena went crazy. The fans, they went nuts. They loved it. So I loved it too.
Yeah, this is MMA. Everybody like this kind of fights.
Very specific fight, especially for us. It was interesting because of Stojnic.
Yeah, we like Stojnic. Stojnic was friend at that time with us. So.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
we actually, I haven't spoken to him for a while. He's in the Netherlands now and then. We talk to each other via message now and then. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
very interesting guy. Maybe you ruined his career for UFC career for sure. Maybe he would be.
Yeah, I think he because he lost his first fight to Cain Velasquez. I lost my first fight to Junior Dos Santos. He lost his first fight to Cain Velasquez.
World champions. Yeah.
And then the loser of that fight was out of the UFC. So it was do or die, man. And I was willing to die that day. I was willing. I didn't care. Like no matter what. And at that point, it was so easy to have that mindset. And then after all the things with my heart, it was a lot harder. I was thinking too much when I was fighting. But yeah, that was a fantastic fight. And now, before the fight, we had a little bit of bad blood. We had a stare down. He pushed me and he said a bunch of things that he was going to knock me out. And then, but now we're cool, It's all good. It's an amazing sport.
Part of business.
Yeah, apart from Stojnic, I would like to come back to a couple more fights. First one, of course, against the fighter that many people think is the best UFC heavyweight ever, Stipom Miočićem.
Yeah.
How do you remember that fight?
Yeah, it was a great fight. We were both on a winning streak, and it was fun because before that fight, we fought at the same events. We fought in Vegas a couple months before that on the big heavyweight card, and then we fought in Omaha a couple months before that. And we were actually in the same locker room, so we watched each other warm up, and we were talking to each other, and we were really cool with each other, joking and wishing each other luck. And then they told us we're going to fight each other in the main event, and that the winner was, really close to fighting for the title. I knew he was going to be really good, but I believed in myself, and it was just a really good fight. He won the first round, and then but already in the first round, I just kept the pressure on him the entire time, and then second round I did the same thing, and I just hit him with some huge shots, straight rights, uppercuts. Like, it was a really good fight. So
yeah, the fight for the history.
Fight for the history, for sure. Yeah. It was fight of the night as well. So it's definitely a great memory for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
One more legend you beat is Minotaur.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
In Rio.
In Rio de Janeiro, to beat Minotaur is very big thing.
Yeah, I've been watching his fights since I was like 11, 12 years old. So I always wanted to fight him. And then I got the opportunity to come back after my issues with my heart and fight him. And they told me, hey, you want to fight him? It's going to be in Rio de Janeiro, though. The fans are gonna tell you are going to die. You know, I was like,
I don't understand Portuguese, so it's
it's okay. You know, I'm like, you know, they cannot do anything else than that. So it's going to be a great experience to look back on after I win the fight. So, but man, that guy can take a punch.
Yeah,
because I hit him with everything. Like,
he's Minotaur.
He could barely walk after the fight. I destroyed his legs. I front kicked him. I head kicked him. I used my hands, my elbows, my knees.
Yeah.
He just did not go down. Like, he told me, like, he's like, I had so much pain during the fight. I wanted to quit, but it's going to be one of my last fights. And I fought in Rio. It's my home city. I couldn't go down. Impossible. Yeah. So yeah, he's a legend. I respect him so much. So
such a good matchup between you two.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted to see it. So it was a good fight. So it would have been a different fight if he was younger still. He was fantastic in Pride. But it was definitely an honor to fight him.
Yeah, a true legend. So Stefan, you had so many fights, but you are a pretty young guy, right? Still. So how is life after the career?
Yeah, good, man. I got 2 small children, a son who is almost 2, a daughter who is 8 months. So I'm loving that. And now I get to be involved in the sport in different ways. I'm doing commentary for UFC in the Netherlands, analysis. I did, work with you guys yesterday on the announcement of the fights and some other things, some interviews with fighters. And I'm just trying to find my way in there, having fun with that. And it's a great way to stay involved in the sport. And all the European events from the UFC we do on location. So then I get to go to the shows, get to talk to the fighters before and after the fight. And it's great for me. It's a pleasure to stay involved like that. And I'm just trying to figure out what I really want to do after fighting. Trying to refine the passion I had when I just started my career. Because a lot of people live their entire life without ever doing something they have a passion for, and that's such a shame. Such a shame. A lot of people just go to work. They live. Yeah. They just exist. They don't really live, you know? So I try to really do as much things that I really like. And I'm fortunate that I get to do that. And of course, I fought really hard to achieve that. And now people ask me to be involved in MMA events like that in a different way. So it's good. I like it.
But also, apart from doing the commentary and all the other work, do you have a chance to train with the guys in the Holland? And what do you think about young prospects from Netherlands?
Yeah, just like over here in Serbia, the level is really going up. We have some young prospects at the gym. But being a prospect and having a lot of talent is one thing. There's so many things that can happen. You can get injured. You can get knocked out in a fight. Some guys are never the same, after that. And I still train, but I need to be smart because I need to train on like a lower level. I cannot be on the level training I did when I was fighting in the UFC because it's not healthy, and especially for me with my heart. So I train 3-4 times a week max to stay healthy, stay in shape. And I roll with the guys, and luckily I don't have a lot of big heavyweights training with me, so I can take it a little easy and rely on technique. And but I like helping people. I like helping fighters, and then seeing them use the techniques I teach them in training, and then seeing that works. So that's a good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I trained with you in 2017, and you show us at that time some great techniques on the fence, defending from the takedowns. And I thought at that time that after your UFC career that you will become some high level coach, like a lot of Dutch Holland guys who live now in US, Henry Hooft and others. But you choose different.
It's if you really want to be a high level coach, it's really hard to do things besides that. Yeah. And I plan to do other things. Being a coach for professional athletes, in my opinion, your focus needs to be completely on that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really hard to do it else. So for me, I like doing it, but not full time. So I don't, I have traveled so much as well. Like I lived in the United States for a while. I fought all over the world. I fought in America, Brazil, Europe, Canada, Russia, Asia. So I also traveled a lot for the UFC, besides my fights, just to be a guest fighter and do seminars all over the world. So it's a lot of fun, but now also because I have small children, I don't want to be away from home as much. So I really choose what I want to do and where I want to do it. And that's why for me, being in the gym, I also been in the gym so much during my career. I almost lived in the gym, being a professional fighter. So now I don't want to be in the gym my entire life. So I like being there, but not too much now.
Yeah,
so.
Smell is awful.
Yeah. No, it's fun, but not too much.
Yeah. Well, people would think that you can show, I don't know, something from stand-up or ground game because you submit a lot of fighters, you knock him down, but your wrestling is crazy good. Who learned you wrestling techniques?
Of course, when I went to the US, I didn't know as much, so I really learned a lot about wrestling in the US, especially against the fence. So that was really good. And now when I train people, help people here, when I show them those techniques, it makes the clinch work against the cage so much easier. So they always love that. I used to work with Greg Jones, who is one of the head coaches at Sanford MMA right now. He's a wrestling legend from the United States. He's one of the best wrestlers in the history of the United States. I also work with Neil Melanson on my grappling and wrestling. Daryl Christian, who was a really good coach in the UFC. I worked with him for a while. And of course, all the good fighters at Sanford MMA, they all have like good techniques, and to train on that level really teaches you a lot. So before I went to the US, my striking was really good, my grappling was good, and then over there I got to fill some holes in my game and make it even better. So for me, it was really really helpful to travel as much and pick up different techniques from all over the world that I now get to share with a lot of people. So.
Yeah, you trained in Brazilians with Kevin, who will fight now with our pregnant Bogdanovic. And you told me today that you will show some techniques to Predrag.
Yeah, man. If you love, of course, I always I'll.
Maybe Kevin will look you in different eyes. I'm kidding.
We're gonna be good, man. Like I haven't seen him for a while, but he's a good fighter. That's a really interesting fight. It's a really good fight.
He was 3-1 in UFC.
Yeah, and for some reason his contract didn't get renewed. That was I remember because that happened when I was there, and everybody's like, that didn't make sense because he was doing really good, and he won two of his fights. He won by knockout, I think. So yeah, crazy.
Yeah, they didn't extend the contract. But
I think he went to Bellator and fought for the title against.
Pitbull.
Yeah. It's gonna be a great fight.
He lost by decision against Pitbull, who is one of the best fighters in the world. So that shows the level he has. So that's a really, really good test for Bogdanovic.
Yeah.
And really interesting.
We're gonna put a high level fight for people in Serbia.
I'm looking forward to the event. It's gonna be really good.
Yeah, I might say Stefan is gonna be the part of
your
SBC 44 Revenge in Belgrade in arena. So it means a lot for us. Also, what I wanted to ask you now that you mentioned that you lived and trained in the United States, what would you say is the main difference when you look the way people train in Holland and in Europe and in America? What do you think is better there? Or
of course, the wrestling and cage tactics. You really learn a lot when you are put with your back against the fence, but also attacking against the fence. There's some really cool tools that if you learn how to use those, it's really helpful. For me, it was Brazilians was a good place because I was able to do that, but also the way I was training my striking, Henry Hoof was there, so it's kind of the same because Henry Hoof and my coach Bob Schreiber have known each other for about 30 years. They used to spar together when they both fought. So it was pretty easy to go there and do that. And of course, in the Netherlands, you don't have as much fighters as in Florida. It was sometimes we had like 50 guys on the mat, like 40 guys, Bellator, UFC, like very high level guys. So it was a great group of fighters at that point.
Yeah, that's really like the high level. I would say in Serbia also the wrestling is the weakest part when you look at all the fighters. That's something that we need to work on, but we are working on it.
Everywhere, but just in Russia, Dagestan, Russia, Chechnya, and US wrestling is okay.
They start doing it when they are so young. It's normal. It's second nature for them. They're so comfortable there. So it's really hard to catch up on that.
Yeah, and apart from fighting all the big names, you also had a chance to spar with some world champions that you didn't fight. Like in some stories that we shared earlier, you mentioned Francis Ngannou and other guys. So everything is huge experience when you spar the guys like that.
Sparring Francis Ngannou was a little scary. I remember being in Vegas, and we heard from people who were training that he came to the gym. He was sparring, and he was like sparring Thiago Silva. And they said, the whole match were covered in blood because he broke Thiago Silva's nose. And then the week after I got back, I was the only other heavyweight there. And I looked at Ngannou, and I'm like, whoa, this is going to be fun. So, but no, I did really well with him. And of course, sparring is different than when you have small gloves. And when he goes 100%, because he only needs one shot, like that's a crazy power he has. But no, we trained together for like a month, and we learned a lot from each other, and we had a great time. So
yeah, but
it was really good.
Now he became a complete fighter and a heavyweight champion. So
yeah, now he knows how to use that strength, because already at that point he was such a crazy good athlete and so strong, but he didn't really know how to use his body. And now he's got the technique to back it up. His takedown defense has gotten much better. He knows how to use his striking much better. And I hope he's going to fight again in the UFC, because he obviously has some issues with his contract. But he's special. You don't really see too many guys like that are that big and move that good. And it's so hard. Like
Cyril Gane was so very close to win fight.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And then nobody expected Cyril to win the first 2 rounds. If it was going to be, if Cyril was going to win, it would be by decision. He would especially do well in the later rounds. But Cyril got tired, and then Ngannou started taking him down. And that's good for him, because he moved from Paris to the United States, and he wrestles a lot. So I think moving to the United States probably won him the fight.
Yeah.
Because he's doing all the training that was necessary for that fight. So, that was super interesting fight.
I like Cyril Gane.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
fighting Tuivasa. So
yeah. I think it will be easy fight for him.
I think it's stylistically it's a really good matchup.
Yeah.
And I think Cyril is going to win that fight.
He's something like GSP in his prime in welterweight. He's a similar fighter in heavyweight.
Yeah, he's really good. So it's I'm curious to see, because obviously he needs to work on his wrestling and his grappling, but his striking is phenomenal. The way he moves for a big heavyweight, and he's a really good athlete. The way he's tall too. He's
over 2 meters.
Yeah, he's close to 2 meters. Yeah. Something like he's a really big guy, but he barely gets tired. The only fight I've seen him get tired was against Ngannou. So it's, but a lot of factors play a role there too. Not only the fight, but the pressure for fighting for the title. So it's
but he running for submission. He lost because he wanted to submit Francis. He lost the position.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy to see. He was trying all sorts of submissions. Yeah, I think he was trying for like a Kimura and an ankle lock. And Ngannou just stretched his arm. He's like, get off me.
Unbelievable.
So strong.
Really. And apart from Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane, what are your favorite fighters now in the UFC? Now we watched the fight where Leon Edwards defeated.
We were on the same card, Leon Edwards.
You fought in Rotterdam too. He fought Brian Barberena the second time.
Yeah. Alexander Rakic.
Yeah, the first fight in Rotterdam when I fought Bigfoot, he fought the second fight of the night against Dominic Waters. He's been around for a long time, so it's fun to watch back and see him, be on like the undercard. Nobody really cared for him at that point.
Yeah, he was on the undercard.
Yeah, and he's doing great. And the knockout was incredible. We were watching the fight in the first round. He did really well. He took Usman down, first takedown ever.
Landed
against
back
Usman, back mount, almost had the choke, and then Kamaru was doing his thing, and it looked like he was just gonna win the fight again because he's so strong, such a good wrestler, and he was winning the stand up. And then you knew the only possibility Leon had left was that high kick.
Yeah.
And I was almost like walking back to the studio because I watched the fights outside the studio, and I was watching, and then he knocked him out. I was like, whoa! It was
movie scenario. Unbelievable story of Leon Edwards. He's one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, he's really down to earth as well. He's a really friendly guy. So it's good to have a champion like that. And now hopefully UFC is going to do the rematch at Wembley. I think that's going to be like a new record for attendance. 80 to 90,000 people to watch that fight. That's, MMA is growing. It's great. It's great.
I hope we will be all together there in...
Yeah, for sure. See that fight happen live. It's going to be amazing. And a lot of just like, there's so many good fighters nowadays, man. Also in the lightweight division with all the new guys coming up, like Mateusz Gamrot, Aman Sarukian, Rafael Fiziev, and you already have that division with Poirier, Gaethje, Makachev, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible.
Tony
Ferguson is still there. He's going up to welterweight though.
Oh, Tony?
Yeah, he's fighting Li Jingliang at welterweight.
I saw something.
In like maybe next month. Yeah. So it's soon. Yeah.
Yeah, but we could say that Chandler became popular very, very fast in the UFC because he gave all the attractive fights. I had a chance to meet him in 2011 in Vegas Extreme Couture. He was supposed to fight for the belt at the Bellator against Eddie Alvarez, but I like all of his fights. I mean, he started great with Oliveira, but Oliveira is now on the run. He's really
but like Oliveira's last 3 fights pretty much went the same way. He got hurt early in the fight, and then he starts going, and nobody wants to deal with him on the ground because he's so fast with his submissions. That's so fun to see. Yeah.
Yeah, really good fight. What do you think about Chimaev?
He's a monster,
a rising star now.
Yeah, but the fight with Burns, we also got to see that he's human because a lot of people thought he was like Superman, But that fight, man, wow.
Unbelievable fight.
Unbelievable. Technically not so good, but sometimes a fight doesn't have to be technically good to be an incredible fight. Just the way they fought, they try to kill each other.
Like on the street.
Yeah. And then I think he's going to destroy Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
I think, but you never know with MMA.
He'll destroy.
Yeah, I think so too. But he's a great fighter. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in the future. And I'm really curious to see how Usman is going to come back from that knockout because some people are never the same after something like that. So, but he's a tremendous athlete. So I think he's going to come back good.
Yeah, but it's a good thing. I mean, UFC, even though they are the best in the world, they are still growing, which is a great thing. And now that you mentioned Gilbert Burns, it's funny that the guy that's going to fight at the main event at SBC 44, he defeated Gilbert Burns. Michel Prazeres.
And it was Gilbert's first loss, I think, in the UFC. Yeah.
So we're really gonna have a great fight here in Serbia because Stefan Negutić, he's undefeated fighter, very attractive, 11-0. So he's looking for his chance to enter UFC, and he's very motivated to fight a guy like Prazeres. So.
Yeah, if you beat a guy like Prazeres, UFC is definitely going to be looking.
Yeah.
UFC is definitely going to be looking your way.
Yeah, we have for him, we have some call from a contender, but he will fight Prazeres before because this is ticket to UFC there directly.
Yeah, no, I understand. And Contenders is a great platform, but if you already beat someone like Prazeres,
you don't need.
In my opinion, that's kind of like Contenders. So it's he definitely can make the step if he wins that fight. Then it's actually a no-brainer to give him an opportunity with his record and his skills.
Yeah, Prazeres lost just 4 fights, and every 4 fight, every from these 4 fights in UFC. He never lost outside of UFC.
I think his last fight was at welterweight. Is this going to be at welterweight?
Yeah, he miss his scale all the time.
Because he's too big.
Almost every fight.
He's like a little hawk.
He wanted now to do lightweight, but we told him, bro, you will not make weight.
Well, if you it depends because his last fight was against Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Yeah,
and he's a giant for welterweight, So it wasn't a big surprise that Rakhmonov won that fight for me because he's really talented and he's very big. So it's going to be really hard for Prazeres to do anything in that fight. But Prazeres is a really good fighter. Yeah. He actually also fought in Rotterdam when we fought. He won by North-South choke, I think.
Yeah.
So, I think he fought Mats Burnell that night.
So we're really gonna have a world-class event in September in Belgrade. So
your memory is so good.
He knows all
for a fighter.
For a fighter.
For a fighter,
40 plus fights.
Hopefully, it's gonna stay that way.
Yeah, but what we mentioned, like it's always better to enter UFC directly. Of course, I hope it's gonna happen with Negocic. But we have a Serbian fighter, Duško Todorović, which they tend to call Little Stefan Struve. You met him yesterday. So he entered UFC through Contender.
Yep.
And after that, he had a great first UFC debut where he won a bonus for Fight of the Night. And now he has his second contract. And hopefully he will come back to his winning ways. But in his case, it's a good move to fight through Contender because in a way, it seems like that people from the UFC tend to care more about people that entered UFC through Contender. Even
UFC does a really good job with promoting the Contender series. They already built a story because they also go to really showcase the people behind the fighter with the Contender series. They especially for some guys they show parts of private life and training and all that stuff. So people already get to know them a little bit. Yes. And so with that platform, they try to bring up fighters that when they enter the UFC, people are already excited because they already had a good fight and they already know them like that. So that's good. And UFC is the best marketing machine in the world. So
yeah, they have Ultimate Fighter 2. Ultimate Fighter winners are favorite fighters for UFC.
Yeah, they always have been. Yes.
Yeah.
So many.
The level of the Ultimate Fighter has gone down a little bit though, because luckily for us, for fighters, there's more options now to enter the UFC or go to other organizations, and I think the level in the Contender series is probably better than the Ultimate Fighter.
It's better platform.
It's because you are going to be in the house for like 6 weeks with the other fighters. It's like not 6 weeks is a long time to be doing that.
We have a lot of problems now.
Yeah,
with this reality.
Even though we made it like a different sort of a project because we want to do a fight camp that's gonna show everything that happens behind the scenes and everything that happens to fighters. So that's a different thing that we wanted to show, but we see how problematic it can be.
It's very problematic.
I think it's gonna be interesting for the viewers, if anything. So.
No, for sure. Guys are gonna get bored. After a couple weeks, they're like they don't really know what to do anymore. It's the same things every day. So it's some guys lose it.
Fight week, it's a little bit easier because they're out of strength. They're not full strength, because
they start cutting weight. Yeah,
cutting weight.
Most fighters, yeah.
But adrenaline in first few weeks. It was very hard with fighters.
But
a lot of brawls, a lot of everything. But it's good for program.
It is
more. Yeah,
it's a good way to show the crowd the people behind the fighters and show them a little bit of what we go through to get ready for the fight. So it really educates people. So.
And we would say it's a good test because we have a lot of guys here, and some of the guys just quit. Some of the guys decided to continue and go through everything, even with the hardship. So it shows like what MMA really is and what you need to do in order to succeed.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. It shows a lot. It's
you
good.
spoke earlier how you fight with your injuries, with health issues, with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think kids are a little bit, how can I say? Spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not true. Like they, for some life is a little too easy. And I think parents need to do a better job of raising their children. But at the same time, I kind of understand it because life is so busy. Everybody's busy.
Yeah.
You need to work all week. You need to be training. You need to bring your kids to training. You need to, watch them all day. You need to do other things. So it's so much to keep your focus on all that. So I kind of understand, but also, raising your kids is the most important thing in the world, to get them ready for the world that's outside. And if my kids are not going to get spoiled. I'll tell you that. They're gonna know how to be what's the best way to say it? They're gonna know what they need to do to be a positive influence in this world. That's how I see it. So it's not about money. It's about a lot of people just think about money, but to me it's about showing them values. Yeah. Showing what's important, being kind to other people, helping other people. It's a lot of people get lost in today's world because it's a crazy world. So.
Yeah, what you say, like as we mentioned before, you're so down to earth and humble.
Yeah.
Even though you are a huge star, when it comes to MMA, to sport, everybody, we see how fighters approach you. Everybody wants to take a picture with Stefan. So you see how much it means to all the other guys. So, but you are still a positive example. Exactly what you said you want your kids to be.
Yeah, in the Netherlands we gotta say, and everybody goes to the toilet in the morning to take a dump. So I'm no different from anybody else.
That's why you were so good, I think.
I think that my discipline. I've trained with a lot of fighters. I've trained with fighters who never really got far in the sport. When I was training with them, I thought they were going to be really good. My focus and my discipline and just my look on life, I think, brought me very far. So I think that a lot of people don't understand how much discipline you need and how mentally strong you need to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So.
That's exactly what we're trying to do with this project, and especially with you. That's why we need to listen to people who went through all it.
Uh-huh.
So, especially in Holland, how hard was it to become a famous name and popular in Holland? Because apart from MMA, Holland is well known for kickboxers. I mean, all the legends from kickboxing are from Holland.
Yeah.
When you look at it.
I was lucky that when I started at like 14, 15, my coach Bob Schreiber, who was like the main guy, one of the main guys in MMA in the Netherlands, was like 10 minutes from my house. So I was able to ride my bike there, and my brother got into it. He was already doing it, and he actually already fought before I was training. Bob had a really good network. You guys know him. You guys spoken to him, done business with him for fighters in the past. And so for me, it was pretty easy to fight, but I was always training. I didn't hang on the street. I had a goal. I was so passionate about MMA. That's all I wanted to do. And I just believed in myself. And no matter how hard training was, no matter how hard I got my ass kicked, because sometimes I sparred with like good kickboxers like Daniel Gita when I was like 21 years old, and he beat the shit out of me. Like it was like horrible. But I came back and I sparred him again a couple days later, and I got better and better, and it asks a lot from your body, but especially mentally, to be able to go back and do that again. So for me, like, I didn't really know anything else, because my first pro fight was when I was 17. So for me, that was life. So I had a goal in mind. Not only go to the UFC, but become a world champion. Unfortunately, I didn't become a world champion, but I did, stay in the UFC for a long time, had a lot of fights there, had a lot of success there. And I impressed a lot of people around the world. So
you for sure did a great job, and everybody know you. And again, I gotta say, it's our pleasure to have you here. So, brother, I would like to ask you to give a message to all the fighters, young fighters from Serbia that's gonna watch this, but all the fighters around the world, what they need to do, how they need to act if they want to become successful.
For me, I see sometimes I see very talented guys who think they can do it with a couple days of training a week. And probably not a lot of people are going to make it when you have that mentality. If you really want to go far in this sport, you need to be training every day. You need to be, studying MMA. You need to be willing to get better. And there's going to be a lot of days where you are not going to like what you are doing. But that's okay, because in the end, the goal is to win. But in order to get better, you need to go through training sessions and to do fights that aren't going your way. But you need to fight your way through it, because else, if you give up too soon, you're never going to make it too far. So if you really love it, find a good gym and give it your all. And it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You got to keep going. You got to make the right decisions. And as long as you are passionate about something, that's and you're willing to do everything for it, then you're going to make it. That's what I believe. And a lot of people never really get to do something they're really passionate about. Some people go to their job every day. They don't like their job. They hate waking up. They want to stay in bed. They go work. Yeah. The only reason they go to work is to make money, to be able to pay the bills, and then go on a holiday like 2 weeks in a year. That's not for me. That's I didn't like that idea even when I was young. So I found my way because I was really passionate about something. And when you find your passion, you will never be really unhappy. You may not feel comfortable some days doing what you want to achieve, but if you do your passion, in the end, you will never regret it.
Stefan, thank you very much.
Thank you guys
for your company here, for helping us. I hope you will be here common. For
sure. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to be part of building up the show even more. It's already a really great show. So whatever I can do to make it a little better, I'm more happy to help.
We are more happy. Thank you, brother.